Are you ready for the weather wars? Let's enter the buzzsaw.
Central Intelligence Agency. It was described by witnesses as...
Sharon Daphna is joining me today. She's an Oregon worker, a researcher, and writer who runs the Chembo.com, focusing on chemtrails. So we'll be discussing what the chemtrails are, perhaps why they're being spread, and how to combat them. Sharon, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. It's really interesting to talk about this subject, obviously, because there's so much interest. I mean, recently Prince passing away, and people, there was actually a huge resurgence of conversation around chemtrails because he had mentioned this in one of his interviews with Tavis Smiley about the chemtrails and
That's right.
and the impact it's having on our health, and also just questioning, well, who's spreading it and why. So let's start with the basic. What are chemtrails? What distinguishes a chemical trail from the traditional idea of a contrail from the jet-fueled waste from a plane, for example?
Well, traditionally, a contrail would occur at high altitudes above 30,000 feet. It's just a vapor trail, sort of like car exhaust on a cold day or your breath on a cold day. It's short, and it travels behind the plane, and it dissipates. So you'll see a short little trail behind the plane. That's just jet exhaust. When it sticks and spreads from horizon to horizon, spreads out and covers the sky, that is not normal condensation. That is matter being placed in the atmosphere. Those are metal nanoparticulates, and they're used in weather modification. There are other purposes for them, which we'll find, but primarily we see that they're being used to change the weather, and they're being used with energies from HARP and cell tower arrays that bombard those particulates.
So the idea is that the government tries to say or explain that they're doing some kind of weather modification. You mentioned sort of cloud seeding, for example.
Yeah.
But we're talking about some very heavy metals that are being sprayed, right, as well as other things I believe that have been found as particulates go from the trails, including bacteria and other things, blood samples. I mean, very strange ingredients.
Yeah, stuff that doesn't make sense. Yeah, like desiccated red blood cells and stuff like that. Primarily, it's aluminum, barium, and strontium nanoparticulates, and they're terribly harmful for our health, and they're terrible for the environment. And that's used in weather modification. It's used to alter soils, make them acidic so that plants don't grow easily. It's basically warfare against us, weather warfare and energetic warfare against our planet and us.
Can you believe this? Rick Miracle reporting here. Go look up this video, Chemtrail Busting Aliens and the Disruption of Wilhelm Reich, with Sharon Daphne on Enter the Buzzsaw website. Unbelievable. And as you know, I take photos of and video the chemtrailing, or dumping of chemicals, I call it, into the sky wherever I am. This March 2019, I was in the mountains of North Carolina. So I'm going to play some clips and then play some of the video that I recorded of them dumping chemicals in the sky, and play another clip, and then play some more of my short videos of them dumping stuff in the sky. So what do you think? I believe we are under attack. Rick Miracle reporting.
So now you say it's warfare against us, but apparently our government is doing it to help us, right? So what is the reason that they would be spraying this upon their own population, considering that, again, I mean, I understand where at one level you want to control people, but at the next level you want to also kill your own families, and they're not necessarily going to be protected from this spraying either.
Right, that's the big question. Why would they spray their own families? One of the simple answers is that they're psychopaths and don't know the consequences of their actions. The other answer that started to make itself clear to me is that this is above the government and beyond the government, because we really can't get any answers from our government. We also are aware that many of these programs are being done by private contractors. There are over 50 private weather modification programs going on at any time in the United States. So it's not just government, it's private contractors, but you do have to ask the question, why would they do this knowing it's harming themselves and their families? And I found more and more evidence that this goes far beyond our government. And when you ask them to stop and you beg them to stop, you're going to get answers like, we're not doing it. Or you're just going to get, I've gotten complete nonsense back from my senators that had nothing to do with even what I asked them. So you're not going to get much from the government. And I don't actually believe that they can stop. I don't know that they are the ones ultimately behind it.
March 2nd, about 10 minutes to noon on this Saturday. Looked outside at the horizon and said, oh my. They're busy today. You can see a plane coming right at me. Spraying pretty heavy too. That's no light stream. Just like the one below it right here, going long ways. This guy is going to leave one heck of a sheet of chemicals, as thick as it is when he's spraying. So anyways, here looking off towards the south and the southeast, it just seems unlimited amount of lines of sprayed chemicals. Painting the whole eastern view pasty white, as you can see. A little bit off towards the east, northeast is a little bluer, but the east, north is a lot of chemicals. So it is directional. You can see it's blowing in the breeze up above. It appears to be blowing this way, from west to east. So this is west, and you can see the spray lines that were dumped blowing across the sky. Again, from west, this is west, towards the east, and this one above the tree line there is going directly from east to west, and this one is going from south to north. So crisscrossing the sky with chemicals, obviously, you can see it. And here's one up here spraying. So painting the sky pasty white yet again. And I have to ask, why? And what are they dumping? And they deny it, even though we can see it. And this guy is just completely dumping a huge, heavy stream of stuff. You know, what is it? Coal ash? Aluminum? There's one over the horizon spraying. It's like this camera zoom doesn't want to work. I've been using it so many years. I wore out the zoom. But right between the trees there is a jet spraying a huge spray line. Alright, so there you have it on this Saturday morning, almost noontime. There's another one coming up over this tree and one right there. So these people are busy. They're serious. Can't be good considering all the other things that are in the news, alternate news, even mainstream news. Global world order, attack on humanity, 5G, directed energy weapons, climate control, climate change, global warming, ice age, terrorism, pole shift, plagues, sustainability, droughts and floods, and so much more. It seems that we, as a human race, and the animal and plant life is under attack. And the bugs and the bees, can't leave them out. The birds. Geoengineering. The destruction of the previous reality, bringing us some new reality. Is that their plan? Apparently there's a lot of documentation to prove that is exactly their plan. Rick Miracle reporting, video in the sky, so that you can see what I can see. Second, about 12:20. Made a video about 30 minutes ago. Oh my! It's almost as if you don't need to say anything. What are they doing? Line after line after line of dumped chemicals. That's west. North, east, East. Plane spraying a big spray line right there. Southeast, line after line after line after line, embedded in the material. These jets are flying under the coverage. If you were to even believe that this is humidity clouds, it's not. It's all sprayed stuff. But nevertheless, if you're in a plane, you always fly above the coverage. You can look out the window, you can see down and see the clouds and the coverage. These jets are flying right smack dab in the middle of it, spraying and spraying. So they could be computer controlled, electronically guided. They don't need to see. They're not worried about running into anything. But they are spraying all through a 360 here. Lines are everywhere. Powder is everywhere. Chemicals, maybe biologicals, everywhere. I just did a 360 there. Pan overhead. Oh my, you gotta admit, this is a lot of stuff being dumped. Has to be costing a lot of money, and we don't know what they're dumping. But they are dumping. Rick Miracle reporting. Just thinking to myself, WTH, what the heck are they doing? How can this be good for humanity, animals, plants, bugs, bees, anything? It can't be. March 6th, 2019, about 10 minutes to 6 p.m. on this Wednesday. Crispy cold day in the mountains of North Carolina. What you see in the sky is obviously not a cloud. It's blowing in the breeze with straight lines. Here's a long swath of a previous sprayed line blowing in the breeze. And you can tell over here towards the northeast, the straight lines are much more definable. So they're spraying off towards the northeast, and the stuff is blowing towards the southwest, as you can see from this view here. So what are they spraying and why on this crispy cold day here in the mountains? March 7th, about 9:20 on this Thursday morning. Looks kind of overcast, as you can see, here in the mountains of North Carolina. But off towards the northeast, in the overcast, there are some spots where you can see a little bit of blue. But even more interesting, you can see a bunch of straight lines. So in the overcast, alright, camera focus. I can see all the spray lines in the humidity, in the clouds. They're spraying like crazy. You can see all the straight lines. So what kind of chemicals are they dumping into the weather? That's obviously going to fall down in the rain, consumed by the plants and animals, and then when we eat or drink water, we will get those chemicals in us. Just thinking. Rick Miracle reporting. March 7th, Thursday, about 12:40, 2019. Rick Miracle observing the sky in the mountains of North Carolina. And as you can see, they're spraying away like crazy. There's a jet spraying as I watch right there. In the center of this video, a thinner line than this stuff. So if I pan around, I can see evidence of spraying everywhere I look. Oops, my camera conked out. Guess I'm wearing this camera out, documenting the sky spraying all these years. So So what do you think? Is that a cloud? Is that a spray line that's blowing apart? Chemicals, maybe biologicals. Cloud, spray line. All that white stuff, clouds or sprayed stuff? Obviously, sprayed stuff, wherever you look. So why are they spraying us like bugs here in the mountains of North Carolina on this March 7th? Not too many days. April will be here, spring will be here, and the trees will have leaves. They're already starting on this tree. Little buds all over these plants. The miracle of creation. But what are they doing messing with God's design, dumping chemicals in the sky? You'd think people would be in an uproar. Rick Miracle reporting.
It lays the predicate and the foundation for the development of a weather satellite that will permit man to determine the world's cloud layer and ultimately to control the weather, and he who controls the weather will control the world.
Profoundly unprecedented, unnatural, and unimaginably destructive weather is radically accelerating all over the globe. The entire web of life continues to unravel. When? What will it take for the global climate engineering operations to be acknowledged as a core part of the equation? What will it take? How bad will conditions have to get? We will soon enough find out. And all the while, no matter how much irrefutable proof there is to confirm the reality of global climate engineering operations, official denial still rules the day. Sadly, so much of the population still, it seems, does not want to know or face reality. Consider this timeless quote. If someone doesn't value evidence, what evidence are you going to provide to prove that they should value it? If someone doesn't value logic, what logical argument could you provide to show the importance of logic? That's from Sam Harris. The human race, taken as a whole, is currently comparable to the man standing on the beach in Sri Lanka just before the tidal wave hit.
10th, Sunday, 2019, about 12:30. Amazingly as it seems, a lot of what I see in the sky appears to be dumped chemicals. That's a lot of dumped stuff in the sky on this Sunday. Spring is here. Had to get some supplies for the garden. They're dumping stuff in the sky. Will the stuff I plant grow with all those chemicals they're dumping? That's the question. Rick Miracle reporting. March 10th, about 6:30 on this Sunday. Been paying attention to the sky all day. And they have been spraying, as you can see with this spray line here, the straight line. Now what's interesting, you can see it even in the middle of this white stuff up there. They're flying smack dab in the middle of the coverage. Been paying attention all day. See him spraying right there, spraying live. Smack dab in the middle of the coverage. You ever flown in a plane where they flew in the middle of the clouds? This isn't clouds, but you get the point. So apparently these jets are on some kind of autopilot. Here's another one. So there is clouds up here in the sky, it appears, but there's a lot of dumped chemicals. Maybe biologicals, maybe radioactive material. Is humanity under attack? There's a big fat wide line there. There's an X. Spraying us like bugs here in the mountains. This nice actual warm day in the mountains of North Carolina. What the heck is going on with this geoengineering? Messing with Mother Nature. Dumping stuff into the sky. Bringing us the big X right there. gotta pay attention to notice it. This guy's spraying a heavy stream of stuff, whatever it is. Not incidental jet exhaust. Please, people, wake up. Rick Miracle reporting on this Sunday, March 12th, about 9:20 on this Tuesday morning, 2019. The sun is rising on this nice morning, but I can see sprayed lines of chemicals in the sky. And it appears clouds. But you can tell some of it looks like clouds, but it's sprayed chemicals, this white line in the center of this video. So you do have to pay attention to see the stuff they're dumping. I think they're getting more proficient at trying to hide it, to make it come out of the planes and not look so obvious like a sprayed line. But if you're paying attention, you can tell. So here we are, Tuesday morning, having a lot of chemicals dumped in the sky. Why? Rick Miracle reporting. Imagine me, Rick Miracle, living in the mountains of North Carolina, looking up at the beautiful landscape and mountains, and then when I look up at the sky, I see this. Some days they spray lightly, some days they spray heavy, like this particular day. And interestingly enough, a lot of other things are going on also. For example, a lot of people are concerned about the installation of microwave transmitters everywhere, whether you call it 5G or wireless, smart meters, HARP transmitters, and so much more. You can drive down the street. They're even putting these huge cell phone towers right over schools and neighborhoods. So take a look at this little clip with Tom Wheeler, the FCC chairman, telling us that there'll be no testing on this stuff. Why would they do that? Only thing I can rationally believe is they're preparing for something. We are under attack. So it seems. Let me know what you think. I don't want to be an irrational person and think that something's there that's not, but I can look up and take pictures of this stuff and video it. It is there. And they deny that it's there. But it is there. Somebody's lying, and I want to know why.
The big game changer is that 5G will use much higher frequency bands than previously thought viable for mobile broadband and other applications. Such millimeter wave signals have physical properties that are both a limitation and a strength. They tend to travel best in narrow and straight lines, and they do not go through physical objects as well. But brilliant engineers have developed new antennas that can aim and amplify signals. Now, to make this work, the 5G build-out is going to be very infrastructure intensive, requiring massive deployment of small cells. I'm confident that the actions will lead to a cornucopia of unanticipated, innovative uses, and will generate tens of billions of dollars in economic activity. And that's damn important, because it means that U.S. companies will be the first out of the gate. And that is why 5G is a national priority. And stay out of the way of technological development. Unlike some countries, we do not believe that we should spend the next couple of years studying what 5G should be or how it should operate. The future has a way of inventing itself, turning innovators loose is far preferable to expecting committees and regulators to define the future. We won't wait for the standards. We're already seeing the industry gearing up to seize this opportunity. Verizon and AT&T tell us they'll begin deploying 5G trials in 2017, and the first commercial deployments they're talking about are expected in 2020. And we're not done. As part of our July 14 action, we also plan to ask for comments on opening up other high-frequency bands. Many of the high-frequency bands that we will make available for 5G currently have some satellite users, as well as some Defense Department applications, or at least the possibility of future satellite and defense users. This means sharing will be required between satellite and terrestrial wireless, an issue that is especially relevant in the 28 gigahertz band. But if anyone tells you that they know the details of what 5G is going to become, run the other way. If something can be connected, it will be connected. Hundreds of billions of microchips connected in products from pill bottles to plant waterers. We must reject the notion that the 5G future will be the sole providence of urban areas. The 5G revolution will touch all corners of our country. A lot more antenna siting decisions by local governments and tightened our shot clock for siting application reviews. America's local governments will play an important role in determining how we fulfill this national priority.
15th, about 6:30 on this Friday, 2019. Looked up at the sky and said, oh my. They've been busy. It's been overcast, so I really couldn't see much, but it's clearing up. You can see the straight lines. Now I want to say something. See these short lines? These were sprayed lines like this one. And you can tell by the sharp edge it's blowing from one side to the other. So all this is helter-skelter. There's a big long straight one there. There's another one. Anyways, when this stuff blows apart, it looks like that little wispy thing there. Like Halloween design, like this. That looks like some weather over here towards the south. But definitely all this towards the northeast and north, surrounding me here towards the west, northwest, is all sprayed chemicals. Here comes a plane right here, spraying as I watch, coming off the treetop right there, on top of this other one. So they're streaking across the sky, dumping something. We don't know what because they don't tell us. Here's another one spraying. Right in the center of this video. So what are they dumping? You would think people would be a bit concerned, considering all the other craziness going on in the news. The government threatening that the electric grid might go down and for people to be prepared for 6 months. So they're planning something. And I think these chemicals have something to do with it. We in the world are about to experience probably something we cannot even fathom. We cannot believe. We won't believe when it's happening. All I can say is we got to get right with God, because this is going to be something bigger than any of us, whatever they're doing. Having the consecrations and rituals and ceremonies and all kinds of plans and announcements for rebuilding King Solomon's temple by the people who Jesus said were the of their father, the serpent. In Revelation, it calls them the synagogue of Satan, and we've had all kinds of satanic rituals and symbols on Emmys and Grammys and Super Bowl halftime shows and movies and billboards and oh my, what is going on? So when you combine all that global warming, climate change, sustainability, terrorism, economic destruction, World War I, World War II, 911, and so much more. And again, you combine it with this spraying, you have to put the two together. They are related. Bees dying, birds, apparently deer getting disease, just standing there like dumb animals. They're so ill from the chemicals. Deer! Look it up on your computer. Tell me where I'm wrong. Rick Miracle reporting on this Friday evening. March 15th, Friday. I took a video about 10 minutes ago. And as you can see, things change quickly. More jets fly by. Refresh the lines. One on top of another. One spraying right there. I guess he just ran out of crap to dump. He's flying right by that white cloud in the center of this video. It's not a cloud, it's sprayed chemicals. If you can see him. Glowing in the sunlight, setting sun. Over here towards the west, southwest. And it looks like ripples here, electromagnetic energy. So what are they doing? You would think people would be concerned. Imagine if I came to your living room and your kids were on the couch, and your wife was making dinner, and I just started spraying some kind of white stuff all into the air. Would you get angry? Would you say, "What are you doing? Stop that, my family's in here"? Look at the colors of this one. Looks like some kind of petroleum material. Purplish. In other words, you wouldn't tolerate it if I just came into your house with these weird cans and just started spraying stuff and told you it was none of your business. Would you? You might even pull out your shotgun and chase me off or shoot me. But people put up with this in the air every day. Apparently there was a shooting in New Zealand, 2 mosques today. They're saying it's about white identity. It's in the news, Main Street, right on the nightly news. White identity seems to be the problem, the target. So if they're targeting white identity, why are they spraying me and everybody else here in the mountains of North Carolina? And the cities, and all the states, everywhere. They're wanting a global world order. And white identity or United States patriotism or nationalism, all that's got to go and be replaced with globalism. Some kind of new world order, and apparently, according to the passage of Noahide laws, look it up on the computer, and they dictate that Jesus was a false savior, and the Noahide laws passed in secret, signed by President George Bush Sr. in 1991, say that believing in a false savior is heresy punishable by beheading. Did you know that? Did you know you can go look that up and it's a fact? And now Israel, the Shahendran, has been coaxing, it's in the news, Main Street News, you can look it up on your computer, for President Donald Trump to start enforcing the Noahide laws. And passing legislation to make it illegal to talk about Israel, Jewish people, Zionism, globalism, all that's going on. That'll be hate speech. So when you think about all of that stuff, and you see what they're dumping in the sky, you have to say, this is not a benevolent thing, it's a malevolent thing. It's a sinister thing they're doing, dumping these chemicals and not telling us what they're dumping. They deny it, even though you can see it. They say they're planning to do it, even though I've been recording it since 2005 and posting videos and pictures on the internet. since 2011. Rick Merico reporting on this Friday. March 17th. About 8:45 on this Sunday morning. And if you can see what I can see, they're seriously spraying us like we're bugs this morning on St. Patrick's Day. Yep. Oops, my camera conked out. Unbelievable. Everything you see, apparently, is dumped stuff. We don't know what stuff. Chemicals, aluminum, barium, strontium, they say. Biological. Biological, think about it. Nanoparticles. Stuff that gets in your body, that gets in the birds' bodies, the plants. Some kind of geoengineering going on. Some kind of messing with Mother Nature going on. Some kind of attack on humanity going on, because it can't be good for us. Here in the mountains of North Carolina, the sun is rising. The sun has risen. We're being sprayed like we're bugs. Rick Merico video in the sky so that you can see what I can see. Oh my! This is a serious attack on St. Patrick's Day. They seem to really go after us on holidays. So it seems. Rick Merico reporting. March 17th. 10 minutes to 10 a.m. Spraying going on, no question about that. But here's something interesting. Notice this wall of white going this way, but nothing, nada, towards the north. So all those lines start and stop almost like a border, like a place where they want to spray, off towards the east and the south, no doubt about it. People living over there are getting sprayed and are breathing it in, or getting the effects desired by the powers that be. It's like David Icke is saying on a video I'm watching right now, with the British exit vote, Britex, the elites were astonished that the citizens voted it out. Said, we don't want to be part of the European Union. Britex. So they've delayed and argued and fought for quite a while since then. And now they're saying, well, maybe we'll just have another vote. But you see, that's how the power elite treat us. They don't think we should have a say in anything, including dumping stuff into the sky, as you can see, which they deny that they're doing. They say they're coming up with a plan to stop global warming and climate change to reflect the sun's rays. So they might dump stuff into the sky to do that. And like the FCC chairman who said they're going to deploy 5G microwaves, transmitters everywhere without any testing because they can make billions of dollars. You really wonder what it's all about, just like the sky spraying. Things that are detrimental to we the people, they want to deploy, whether it's weather control, sky spraying, 5G, even 4,000 nuclear tests on this planet, a lot of them up in the atmosphere. Do you know that they exploded over 4,000 nukes on this planet? If there's any kind of ailment with this planet, it's because of the nukes the elites exploded. Apparently, something called Operation Fishbowl. Do you think they think we're in a fishbowl? Like the Bible says? Like the Rosicrucians drawings show pictures? They were in a big fishbowl and they got this guy climbing through the bottom edge and seeing another world on the outside. Why would they explode thousands of nuclear weapons into the atmosphere? Lots of whys. So why are they not spraying there, but over there they are? Not. Yes. Not. Yes. So it is directional. There is a target. Prevailing winds, densities of whatever they want to dump into the soil to destroy trees and birds and bees and worms. You notice there really aren't many bugs around anymore. And we need bugs. The birds eat bugs. Bugs pollinate the plants. So it does seem we're under attack. But right now over here, they're not attacking, but they are over here. And over there in Britain, they're continuing to cause a big uproar in the media, and they're saying, we'll just change BritX and forget what the people want. Those crazy people, they don't have any say, they don't have any brains. We'll just spray stuff on them and cause them to have Alzheimer's and dementia. And they'll be zombies. They'll be our slaves. The ones that are still alive, that is. Anyways, that's so much for my ranting on this St. Patrick's Day Sunday morning. Rick Marico reporting. March 17th. St. Patrick's Day 2019. I'm looking off towards the northeast. The mountains of North Carolina. Panning around to the north, pretty blue sky. Off to the west, pretty blue sky. Off to the southwest, pretty blue sky. South, pretty blue sky. But wait, as I investigate, off towards the southeast and east, spraying like crazy. You can see the straight lines. So where they are spraying, they are. And please don't try to tell me, well, Rick, they're just not flying south and west and north. There's no planes today. Only way over there towards the southeast and south. So that would be off towards Savannah, Charlotte, Columbia, some major cities, the coastline, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina. But wait, over here towards the north, what I can see, nothing. West, nothing. South, nothing. And you can see them spraying. I can see the planes spraying as I watch with my eyes. I don't know how good the camera can pick it up, but what are they doing in your neighborhood? You can go outside and see physically what they're doing. So there you have it here in the mountains of North Carolina. Weirdness in the sky. Just days away from April. What are they doing? But people don't seem to care what they're doing. I was just watching a brand new Dane Wigington geoengineering watch video published yesterday, the 16th of March, 2019. Please go look up Dane Wigington and watch the March 16th. Wow, look at this guy. Again, off towards the southeast. Seeing is believing. He just turned on the nozzle while I was talking. And it's just going to grow. It's growing. He's spraying. He's going to go right into the tree. Looks like he switched drums there. I think that's what happens when they have a little space in between the spraying. When you have all those drums on the plane and you have to switch from one to the other. Or it could be intentional, different proportions of whatever they're dumping. But jet engines don't turn off and on in flight, do they? You ever heard that on your plane ride, that the engine would go rev up and rev down. No, it's consistent. So there you have it. Spraying off towards the southeast and east. But not anywhere else. Right now, they were earlier, I videoed. Rick Miracle reporting. Video in the sky so that you can see what I can see. You can go on the internet and look up Dane Wigington. He releases a video every few days. He's been doing this quite a while. Geoengineering Watch, Global Alert News. Listen to this.
But in fact, is the opposite more generally true? Are the true denialists those who blindly accept officially sanctioned deception and lies? What is the greatest and most immediate threat we face, short of nuclear cataclysm? The global climate engineering, aka weather warfare, biological warfare assault. Many in academia are doing their best to covertly sell climate engineering by claiming our toxic particle-filled atmosphere is the only thing saving us from an even more rapid incineration. These same scientists, of course, do not actually admit to the blatantly obvious ongoing climate engineering atrocities or the catastrophic cascade of consequences being created by geoengineering. Over the past 70 plus years, we are living in an asylum. How could...
So what do you think? So I thought I'd play a little bit of his video now. And right now, before I show a couple clips of my videos I take every week, every day, every month, Richie from Boston has been involved in exposing the dumping of chemicals in the sky. But he's also, in this video, showing us there's a lot of satanic symbolism and stuff going on. This is all actually unbelievable, but it is what it is, and it seems to be happening.
We know what the state of the global climate will be with a total cessation of geoengineering, unless or until we put a complete halt to the toxic geoengineering assault and allow the climate and the planet to respond on its own.
Do you see what I'm saying? They just keep pushing it and people don't get it. This isn't art. These are rituals happening in front of everybody. And now the Hollywood people, they present these rituals to us in movies all the time, in music videos all the time, on television all the time. But in private, they sit down with these people. You know who I'm talking about. Her, because she's the godmother of all this. They sit down with them and they do things like this. They do things like this all the time. Is that a real woman or is it food? Who knows? It doesn't matter. The intent is still there. This is black magic. This is blood magic. This is sex magic. And this is what they do. And do you know why? Because Lucifer is the power of he's the prince of the power of the air. And they know this. So stay with me because we're still going.
March 18th, about 6:45 on this Monday. You can almost see the moon. Well, you can see the moon through the stuff dumped in the sky. And here's a plane. There's the moon. And right up here to the right, a plane is spraying chemicals right in the center of this video. And again, I repeat, if you've ever been on a plane, you do not fly in the middle of the clouds or coverage. You fly above it, or below it when you're landing. But anyways, my point is, it appears to me, you can see the straight lines in this stuff, that everything you see, here's one spraying heavy, everything I see in the sky right now appears to be sprayed chemicals. They're spraying while I watch them. This guy here is still spraying. So let me do a 360 and verify what I'm saying. It seems to me none of this is clouds. I know what a cloud looks like. This stuff has a different look, and you can see the long streaks, cigar-type lines. That's a lot of stuff to be dumping in the sky here in the mountains of North Carolina. Cannot be good for us, I keep repeating. Rick Miracle reporting. March 19th, about 8:30 in the morning on this Tuesday, 2019. 30 degrees outside, freezing. So why would you want to block the sun here if that were really the reason? Everything you see is sky sprayed chemicals. You can tell how it's blowing in the breeze in the short lines, straight lines, long edges. You can see jets spraying, long lines. It doesn't look like clouds. So there you have it on this 30-degree freezing morning. They're spraying chemicals, maybe biologicals, into the air. Meanwhile, you can look around and see the jets spraying away. Rick Miracle reporting. March 19th, about 12:30. No doubt about it. Everything you see in the sky is sprayed stuff. You see those straight lines? Line after line after line. They turn into this stuff. You can see it's blowing like strings into the wind. Pay attention to the different directions it's dumped. Either directly into the wind, parallel to the wind, vertical. Then you can see how it blows apart. Helter-skelter, left and right. Painting the sky pasty white with chemicals. On this Tuesday. Son of a gun. What are they doing? What are they up to? This cannot be good for humanity in any stretch of the imagination. Rick Miracle reporting from the mountains of North Carolina. Crispy, cool day. March 19th, Tuesday, 2019. It's about 1:30. Crispy, cool weather outside. April's right around the corner. So the government denies that it's dumping chemicals in the sky. It's not hiding the fact that it is pursuant to a global world order. Plans are being discussed to invade Venezuela, Iran, and so much more. Passing legislation so that you can't even have any discussion at your city council meetings. People will be limited to a 1-minute comment and no discussion. They don't want you to discuss things. They don't want to discuss things with you or me. But they are dumping all these chemicals in the sky. Apparently the government's into psychic research and all kinds of other advanced technologies, using them for human mind control, depopulation, globalization, propaganda, deception. Anyways, Rick Miracle reporting here in the mountains of North Carolina. Nothing you see right now is clouds. Nothing. People don't want to wake up and open their eyes. Will we pay for that? What will be the consequences of ignorance? Anyways, just notice they're spraying us like crazy today, here in the mountains of North Carolina. March 17th, about 2:30. Watching these jets fly back and forth, dumping out some God knows what into the sky. So the whole sky is painted pasty white. Jets are streaking by, one after another. coming from this way, flying this way, dumping chemicals. Maybe biologicals. Maybe depleted uranium. Maybe they found a way to get rid of it. Instead of stockpiling it, just dump it in the sky. We don't know what they're dumping because they don't feel the need to inform us. Isn't that nice of them? Powers that be that control our world. Rick Miracle reporting on this Tuesday afternoon, March 19th. About 7 o'clock on this Tuesday, 2019. Looking off towards the southeast. A nice little cigar-shaped spray line. Think about this for a minute. There's a little one right here beside it. Obviously not the same airplane jet that far apart. But it's so thick, yet there's nothing up here. So they do come along and make a dump. Can we agree on that? A jet came along and made a dump. And you can look up here in the sky, there's jets flying, dumping stuff. And here comes another one, back to back. Here's one flying that's not spraying anything. But the point is, if I look here towards the northeast, I see just basically a white haze. Not the blue sky you should see when there's no clouds. You see the whole sky has this white haze. Whatever level of the atmosphere it is full of those particles. And I do know that at nighttime, if you come out here and you take a high-powered flashlight and just aim it straight up, you can see all those particles. So they are putting something into the atmosphere. The question is, what? And is it harmful to plant life, animal life, human life, etc.? Marine life? I say it is harmful. Here comes a plane that just turned on the nozzle. Just started right there. It's kind of a faint one, not a big thick one like this one, but certainly it's visible. So what did he just dump? Right there, you can barely see it. On top of this one. And another jet right there dumping, and then they just keep coming out of the east and heading west. And they always don't head that way, you know. Sometimes they're going the opposite way or north to south. Depends on what they're doing. We don't know what they're doing because they don't tell us. Rick Miracle reporting.
Behind it.
Right.
As we know, there's a power structure on this planet that goes to the banking families, and it does go beyond that as well. There's a long history.
So, in your investigation, where does it lead? What does it lead you to conclude as far as who is behind the spraying?
Well, ultimately, I find that parasitic entities, off-worlders, are responsible. And I know that sounds a little outrageous. It took me years to come to this conclusion. And I had to go through many different channels. First, I had to learn what they were spraying and just understand the basics of how the weather is modified. But I didn't even fully understand it until I learned the other side of the story, which is what energy we can use to combat weather modification, which is orgone energy. It's the life energy discovered by Wilhelm Reich back in the 1930s. He discovered this amazing energy, which we all have within us. And when I learned about this energy, then I saw there's two sides to this story. When I saw strange things in the sky that I couldn't explain, I'd see the chemtrails and I'd see funnel clouds. What are these funnel clouds? What are these strange puffy clouds that form at the end of a long chemtrail day? I started to see that there were people using this energy. I started to see evidence that orgone energy was working
To break them up.
Exactly. And that's when I started to make my own. And then I saw massive changes in the atmosphere in Southern California. And that led me to further understanding that it was something beyond our government. And I studied Wilhelm Reich's work, and he also found that there was something beyond human doing this. And after he made this discovery and reported his findings to the Air Force, his life completely went downhill.
So you see, me playing the Richie from Boston clip on the Satanism issue, it certainly seems to me the dumping of chemicals and the installation of microwave transmitters and so much more, economic disruption and world wars and 911 and the Israeli Jewish Sanhedrin, their religious authority, trying to get the United States and Russia and other countries to help rebuild King Solomon's temple. It certainly seems that Revelation in the Bible 2.9 and 3.9, Jews who call themselves Jews but are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan. So we can see several common denominators here. We can see that the powers that be are showing us all kinds of satanic symbolism and evidence of a fulfillment of biblical prophecy with the apparent arrival of an antichrist character. And then all these high-tech weapons, microwaves, and dumping chemicals in the sky, killing the bees, the bugs, the worms, pretty much seemingly like they're trying to destroy the environment, maybe so that when the big event happens, World War III, a nuclear holocaust, economic collapse of the stock market and closing the banks and martial law, maybe they just don't want us to be able to survive on the different foods and water in the environment. It promises to be right out of this world reality, and it isn't just me. You can go watch this video and hear the seemingly crazy things these people are saying.
I mean, he was already under fire from the FDA for finding this energy because he was using it to treat cancer.
Yeah, I mean, I've not researched Reich in depth, but what I recall were things pertaining to his development of orgone, but people oftentimes allege that was just sexual energy, and he was basically tapping into people's sexuality and whatnot, and so that's why a lot of counterculture people and hippies got interested in Reich. But tell me more about what actually, what actually orgone energy is and how where it's found, how it's activated.
Well,
So there you have it. I've been reading up on Wilhelm Reich. I think I need to make a video on his books. Quite an amazing character. Apparently, this Sharon Daphne and others are using these orgone machines from Wilhelm Reich to combat the stuff they're dumping in the sky. Apparently, when they aim these devices at the sky, it makes the chemtrailing white powder, pasty white sky go away and brings back a beautiful blue sky. Is it some kind of magic or spiritual satanic warfare? I wonder. March 20th, about 8:21 on this Wednesday morning. It's a little frosty outside here on the ground. Everything's frozen. I thought the cold weather was gone. But even if it's frosty, 30 degrees, I'm looking off towards the north and northeast, and I see what you see. Obvious spray stuff. Now here's what's interesting. Yesterday, the 19th, the spraying was in the south and east. If you go look at the video, this one, just a couple minutes back, you'll see these trees and the spraying. And you'll see that it was clear to the north, east, and north. So they do spray in different places. They don't have planes flying in different parts of the sky different days. Do they? Nope, it's not air traffic. Air traffic doesn't spray lines, and they fly higher than these planes. So on a frosty Wednesday morning in the mountains of North Carolina, I'll do a 360. The only place they seem to be spraying is north and northeast. This is west. Here's one little splotch. They do blow across the sky. South, southeast, sun rising, east, nothing. And then it starts with the northeast, and I can see through the trees there's a lot of spraying east, northeast. Interesting to observe what they're doing. What are they doing? Rick Miracle reporting. March 23rd, about 7:30 on this Saturday. 23rd, about 7:30 on this Saturday, 2019. I'm looking off towards the northeast. And as you can plainly see, if this camera will zoom, straight lines of chemicals dumped across the sky. No doubt about it. Looking off towards the east, looks a little pasty white, but southeast you can actually see that it is full of chemicals. And if you look straight up, here's one spraying as I watch, that just started. As you can see, it has a tail, just started, and you can see all this white stuff. Not clouds, none of this is clouds. It comes from these jets spraying these chemicals. Here's another one, and another one. It's been relatively free, clear day today, but this evening you can see, no matter where I turn my camera, there. We are under attack with chemicals. The chemical monster, the governments that control the planet, are dumping stuff in the sky, and they tell us they're not. So don't please believe your eyes when you look outside. What you see is not happening. Even if you can see the jet gleaming in the sunset rays, dumping the chemicals, just because you can see it doesn't mean it's really happening. They want you to question your own reality, your own sanity. They're not doing it. I'm telling you now, do not believe this camera, me, they're not doing it. Do not believe what you see outside. Rick Miracle reporting on this Saturday evening from the mountains of North Carolina. It appears we're being sprayed like we're bugs. I'm not a bug. Are you a bug? March 24th, Sunday, about 11:10, 50 minutes to noontime here in the mountains of North Carolina. So I did notice earlier this morning some slight sky spraying off towards the east. Then I looked outside a few minutes ago and I said, oh my, they are really busy. Everything you see in the sky is sprayed chemicals. Maybe biologicals. I don't know if there's any humidity clouds right there, but all this other stuff, definitely, without a doubt, sprayed stuff in the sky. Unbelievable! There's a plane flying right there, not spraying. So the ones that are. Looks like we got the bluebirds back in the yard. Little bluebird on the top of this bush. They're coming back to their nest where they were born. Right here. So about it once a week, whole flock of them will come back and go inside this little bird box. And apparently during the season soon, they will be nesting again. Meanwhile, the powers that be are dumping chemicals on us and the bluebirds, and the bees, and the trees, and the grass, and the squirrels, and the frogs, fish, all of us, even the animals, the cats and the dogs, are all under attack. Rick Miracle reporting. Video in the sky so that you can see what I can see. March 24th, about 7 p.m. An anomaly in the sky. It's kind of shining kind of bright because apparently the sun is reflecting off of the dumped chemicals. You can see my camera conked out. But anyways, you can see they're dumping below, I guess, the weather, the clouds. Since when do planes fly below the weather, the clouds, and dump all this stuff? It's creating some kind of anomaly with the sun setting and making it look really bright off these mountains over here. Dumping below the clouds, if that's clouds, which it probably is. But it does look ominous if you can't tell from the colors. Looks kind of weird. And I looked outside and I said, why does it look weird? And I see all this dumped chemicals underneath the cloud level. It's a weird picture. You know, when you look up at the sky and it's pasty white, like this picture, and you see a line, you have to ask yourself, what the heck is a plane doing? Assuming that this could be clouds or just water vapor in the sky, which it's not, but assuming it is, and you'd say, why would a plane be flying below the coverage? If you've ever flown a plane, you know you fly at 30,000 feet and you look down and the clouds are below you. Just a lot of strange anomalies. And also we have warnings from the government that the grid might go down and people need to be prepared. Take a look at this clip.
True the Unveiled here, and today I have some important information to share with you. We're going to be talking about the recent report from the DHS along with the FEMA reports concerning and having to do with electrical grid and power outages for the entire nation. And we're here at the Washington Examiner that says, start prepping, electric grid, quote, prime target of terrorists, profound threat, says counsel, because there's always a threat, isn't it, against America? Oh, here comes another threat, and another one, and another one.
March 28th, at 9:30 in the morning, Thursday, 2019. So March is quickly passing by. They've been busy spraying stuff in the sky. None of what you see here is... My camera conks out. I gotta go buy a new camera. Man, here's two planes. This is unbelievable. Flying side by side. Funny what you can capture if you pay attention. Dumping stuff into the sky. You wouldn't believe it if you couldn't see it. Live while we watch. Looks like one of them had to switch tanks. Jet engines do not throttle up and down and turn off and on. I believe anybody believes that. They run smooth and steady. But when you're dumping chemicals, you do have big tanks that have to be switched from one tank to another tank. And so it takes a moment or two for the second tank to catch up. So this stuff they're dumping, this thick stream of white stuff, some kind of chemicals, maybe some biologicals, maybe some radiation, some depleted uranium, some waste product. What a nice way to get rid of it. Dump it into the sky, especially if you're attacking humanity, which it looks like they are. Here's one spraying in another direction, flying right towards these two lines. Here's one here, another one spraying. So they are busy, oh my. One here, two here, one here. Just in my little valley. Why would they be spraying so much in my little rural valley? And I know they do it over the cities with lots of people and population. And we don't know what they put in these concoctions, the stuff that they're dumping. Because they don't tell us. Matter of fact, they say they're not doing it. They do announce they're planning on doing it. Isn't it ironic? I can go out and video it. One spray in here, two here, one here. And if I pay attention, they'll be coming across the horizon one after another. Rick Miracle reporting on this Thursday morning in the mountains of North Carolina. Video in the sky so that you can see what I can see. March 28th, about 9:45, 15 minutes ago I made a video. March 28th, my camera conked out again. Just decides to turn itself off. Anyways, 15 minutes ago, it's 9:45. As you can plainly see, the planes are spraying as I watch right now. Continue to streak across the sky, one after another. Dumping this stuff, painting the sky pasty white with chemicals, maybe biologicals, maybe depleted uranium. We don't know because they don't tell us. Oh my, what are they spraying? And why? None of this is clouds that you see. This is northeast, east here, and southeast, all of it blowing west. This is west, southwest, west, and northwest. Just funny how some of the lines of sprayed material are much thicker than other ones. But it all spreads out into this sheet of chemicals in the sky, blocking the sun. Has to have some effect on humanity and plants and everything else. I put a lot of seeds in my incubator for my garden. And I need to use grow lights. So plants do need light to sprout and grow. And this is blocking the light. It has to have some effect on the plants. People need light and sunshine. It has to have effect on the people. Bugs, bees, worms, and everything else are affected. Deer, apparently. Somebody is messing with Mother Nature. Rick Miracle reporting on this Thursday morning, March 28th, Thursday, 2019, about 11. Unbelievable! You could almost be speechless. Can you count the lines? This is not air traffic for airlines. They have certain patterns. This is helter-skelter, everywhere, crisscrossing. Almost like it's an attack on humanity today. Maybe it is. We don't know when they will, or if they're doing it slowly, when will they do it quickly? Unbelievable! Can you believe it? What's it going to take to wake people up? Here's one coming out of the north. Coming out of the north, right here by this tree. Heading towards this one here, coming out of the east, going southwest. This one's going southeast. Unbelievable is all I can say. Here's one coming out of the northwest, heading southeast, spraying as I watch. I don't know if this video can pick it up. Some of the lines aren't too thick, but these are quite visible. Is there any doubt in anybody's mind we're being sprayed like we're bugs? I'm not a bug. Are you a bug? Unbelievable. Rick Miracle reporting from the mountains of North Carolina. 28. You think you see everything. Well, here I got one jet plane spraying. And another one right behind him. Pasty white sky, not blue, the way God made it. I had another video released today, 95 Part 2, about the happenings in Poland, freedom fighter. And I had some commenter online trying to say that everything is false, nothing is real, it doesn't matter. A couple other commenters called him a troll. So what do you think? Dumping stuff in the sky, does it matter? Plane right there, another one right behind it, dumping stuff. Does it matter or does it not matter? Rick Miracle reporting. March 28th. Here they come, one jet behind another, spraying, lining up, one after another. March 28th, about 3 o'clock on this Thursday, 2019. Whoever's dumping stuff on the sky has a mission today. Nobody could possibly believe that what's coming out of this plane is just steam or some kind of exhaust. They painted the sky pasty white. The lines are helter-skelter, crisscrossing the sky. Big X's. Taking away the blue. Some kind of filtering out of the sunlight on this warm 72 day, 72 degrees. One jet coming after another. There's one live right there. Unbelievable. None of my camera keeps conking out. None of what you see is clouds. 360. Now that's some chemicals dumped in the sky. Unbelievable on this beautiful day, Thursday, in the mountains of North Carolina. The green grass is growing. The buds are on the trees. And the powers that be are relentlessly dumping stuff into the sky. It's kind of ominous to me. Sinister. You know, I have to admit, this whole topic, all this research I do, my Freemasonry and Satanism book review series, my media and press releases, New World Order series, my live streaming events where YouTube shut me off after 2 months, and so much more. But just imagine, you wake up, you look out your front porch, And you see they've dumped so many chemicals that it's all pasty white. It seems like we are under attack. And you have to ask yourself, who? What? Why? It boggles the mind. I can see why people don't want to believe this or even see it. They want to be in denial. But there's so much information. I do know that back in the 1920s, after World War I, there was a lot of concern in America, even congressional hearings, about the communists infiltrating America, getting into the government and into the educational institutions, medical institutions, into the economy, buying up businesses, getting even into baseball and Hollywood and publishing. And so you ask yourself, okay, who are the communists? So the communists appear to be a derivative of the Zionist. The people pursuing the rebuilding of King Solomon's temple and regaining the ancient kingdom of Judea that they had, the Jewish people had 3,000 years ago. And apparently these people, not all Jewish people, maybe half the Jewish people are opposed to this or completely unaware of it. But apparently the Zionists, people trying to bring about biblical prophecy, are into something called the Kabbalah. And then they have a holy book called the Talmud, which is a derivative of the Kabbalah. And even in the Jewish Encyclopedia Judaica, 1973 edition, published in English, published in Israel, it's an encyclopedia on the Jewish people. It says historically the religion of the Jews was the Kabbalah. It also says that many of the Kabbalists were accused of sorcery. Sorcery, of course, is witchcraft. So it keeps bringing us back to some kind of Satanism, as much as it boggles the mind. So here's a little clip about apparently the communists infiltrating America, if you can believe it. But maybe we better wake up and believe something. Thought I would look up communist infiltrate America on the Yahoo search. And it's an interesting search result here, as you can see. So I'm saying these people conspiring to bring about a global world order, conspiring to bring us 9/11, conspiring to bring the World War I and World War II, conspiring to assassinate President John Kennedy and others, leaders all over the world, and conspiring to control the government and the presidency, bringing us these puppets, presidents that they control. The communists, of course, were created by the Bolshevik Jewish groups that invaded Russia after World War I. And after World War I, they had communist hearings in Washington, D.C. It was the big scare in the United States in the early 1920s and 30s. And the communists testified before Congress that they were infiltrating or planning on infiltrating all aspects of American society. The truth is they were doing this all over the world, even in Europe. So it says here, the communist infiltration of America was prophesized. August 22nd, 2017, as Hitler's forces rampaged across Europe during World War II, the world's greatest capitalist nation, America, entered into a strange alliance with Britain, the greatest colonial power, and the Soviet Union, the greatest communist state. So I've said this before, prior to World War II, Britain had given Germany a blank check, and helped it build up its industrial and military strength. Meanwhile, prior to and during World War II, America gave Russia a blank check, and without the British and the American financiers financing Germany and Russia, we would have never had World War II. But they needed World War II to bring down Turkey, the Ottoman Empire, and other countries who were in the way of the Zionist Jewish Talmudic people into the Kabbalah and the Talmud, and apparently sorcery, divination, or witchcraft, trying to get the Palestinians land to create the current state of Israel, which is, to me, in cahoots with this communist infiltration of America they now call socialism and the New Age, and it is hugely anti-Christian, as we all know. Even in secret, President George Bush in 1991, George Bush Sr., with some rabbis signed, some kind of Noahide laws, some Jewish religious laws into effect in the United States, maybe nullifying the idea that the United States was a Christian nation. They've been trying to destroy Christianity since, and they are promoting the globalist, communist, Zionist idea, New Age philosophy since then. So let me read on more on these search results. The communist infiltration of America was: exalts many communist ideals. There is even compelling evidence connecting the current president to some of the biggest names in America's communist history. Herbert Armstrong warned that communist economics would sap America's strength and weaken its economic power. Well, that's pretty much a done deal, don't you think? Communist infiltration of America was not a conspiracy theory. The next one down. Has America been influenced by communism? Next one down. Marxism infiltration of America virtually complete. Well, I guess we can see what's going on. The Chinese Communist Party infiltrates America. The communist takeover of America. 45 declared goals. You can go to Yahoo image site and look up Communist Infiltrate America. Find these search results and read them for yourself. We have become a communist states of America. The naked communist and Soviet espionage in the United States, Wikipedia. We have 10,400,000 results on the bottom. So what do you think? We have a problem here in the United States of America? Have some unseen forces taken control of the government? Are there plans for a global world order? Are there plans for a population reduction? Are there plans to bring about a society like the Hunger Games movie series? It seems so. If it is so, and it seems so, you'd think people would wake up and try to stop it. Rick Miracle reporting on this little Yahoo search on Communist Infiltrates America. March 29th, about 9 o'clock in the morning. It looks like they're going to spray today as much as they did yesterday, which was a lot. Straight lines, sky full of, I guess, if you weren't lying to yourself, chemicals. Look at the straight line. So let me do a 360. Just, you can tell, the evidence is everywhere. This guy is spraying a ton of crap. So there you have it on this Friday morning. We are being sprayed like we're bugs here in the mountains of North Carolina. How about your neighborhood? March 29th, about 11 o'clock on this Friday, 2019. And these sprayed lines are swirling in the breeze, turning into this white stuff you see, which is not clouds. You can see the straight lines, and they're spraying as I watch. There's one spraying there. Right on the top of those trees. You can see all the previous sprayed lines. So somebody's on a mission to dump this stuff into the sky. Here in the mountains of North Carolina. Here's one that just turned a nozzle on. If I can zoom in on it. So there you have it. All kinds of previous sprayed lines. Other ones are dispersed, blown in the breeze, forming all these whispers, they kind of call them. Swirls of chemicals blowing in the breeze. Strangely enough, if you ever go watch skywriting and watch it blow apart, it looks the same as what they're doing here. The powder, the chemicals, just blows in the breeze. Rick Marico reporting on this Friday morning. Here in the mountains of North Carolina, we're being sprayed like we're bugs. March 29th, about noontime. Video in the sky, the obvious dumping of chemicals. You know, psychologically, when you think about it, and you live with the fact every day that somebody is messing with Mother Nature, which can't be good, thus an attack on humanity, which is not good, very malevolent and sinister. Just saying, you go about your business, you go to work every day, you look up and you realize we're under attack. You think to yourself, why do I keep on working? Just going about my business and ignoring this. Am I insane? Have I lost my mind? Is what I'm seeing not real? Is it my imagination? Is it the camera's imagination that can video the dumping of chemicals in the sky? Just saying. It messes with we the people psychologically. Some people, a lot of people, they don't care. They don't care about anything. They don't care about all the Arabs being killed in the Middle East. They don't care about all the other horrible things going on. The government crashing the economy, polluting the food and the water, creating more homeless people. Death rates are increasing. A lot of people just don't care. Wonder how that's going to bode for them when they move on to the next sphere of reality. When they leave planet Earth, they get at the pearly gates and they want to come in. I want to go to heaven. And St. Peter says, why didn't you do something? Well, it's none of my business. I wasn't supposed to do anything. I wonder if he'll let you in. Whatever heaven is, but you get my point. We're responsible for what's going on. But maybe it's all my imagination. All these sprayed lines don't really exist. Rick Marico reporting on this Friday noontime. March 30th. About 8:46 on this Saturday morning. Kind of what you would call cloudy today, except when you look up, you see spray lines. And again I say, since when? You can see all kinds of spray lines off towards the northeast. Since when do planes fly under or in the middle of clouds? Here you can see line after line after line of chemicals dumped. The bottom line is planes do not fly with passengers in the midst of coverage or this low. So if planes don't normally fly that way with passengers, what are these planes doing? Here's one spraying as I watch, right below the coverage. So what are they doing? Spraying this much stuff in what appears to be humidity clouds. Here's a weird evidence. A weird line in this darker mass. See it? So this darker mass is even lower, and you got that line in the middle of it. This guy's spraying. So my point this morning is, what are they doing? Dumping all this stuff into the humidity, if it is clouds, humidity, water vapor. Certainly it couldn't just be a whole lot of dumped chemicals. That would be kind of crazy, you think? So if they're dumping chemicals in the water vapor, humidity, clouds, well, what are they dumping into the clouds? And how will it affect all living life? Geoengineering, genetic manipulations, weather warfare, population reduction. We don't know because they don't tell us. Rick Merico reporting from the mountains of North Carolina. March 31, about 6 p.m. on this Sunday, down here shopping in South Asheville. And I'm looking up at the sky and there's jets coming one behind the other, spraying chemicals here. Unbelievable! You can see evidence of all kinds of lines here, one after the other. Like ducks in a row. And evidence that there's plenty of other stuff dumped in the sky here in the mountains of North Carolina. That jet there that you can't probably see stopped spraying. This guy is still spraying. Look at all these lines. Kind of obvious. You think? Look at they're all beginning. Parallel. One after another. Crazy? Rick Merico reporting. March 31st, 2019. For the last day of the month, they're going out with a bang. Look at the big thick cigar line there. And the skinny lines. In the center of this video. Another one there. There, all the way streaking across the sky. So it looks like, here's one spraying as I watch. Crispy cold, freezing out on the last day of March. Guys spraying while I watch. So I've been noticing for the last hour, I just went shopping. They are spraying and spraying. That big fat cigar is a spray line. There's another one. Another one. They're dumping a lot of stuff into the sky. We're beginning to die. Rick Merico reporting. Oh my.
Agenda?
Mm-hmm. So for many, many years, Reich struggled with the idea of emotional plague. Why are humans in the state they're in? Why is the world in the state it's in? He was seeing horrible war and atrocities, just as we do today. Mm-hmm. Why would humans do this to each other? And he determined for the longest time that this is because of the suppression of our own energy, our armored nature. We're armoring ourselves. Mm-hmm. And when you're armored, you're going to express in anger and hatred. You're not going to be able to express love. So this armoring of the individual was creating so many problems in the earth. He called it emotional plague. Many people are starting to see a connection between these problems and an extraterrestrial or extra-dimensional presence, which is actually feeding off of these negative feelings on Earth.
And I personally believe it's the interdimensional satanic forces, kind of aligning itself with a lot of stuff in the Bible and prophecy. But let's listen to what she says.
Earth. And he made this connection visually when he was doing his cloud busting operations in the deserts of Arizona. He traveled across the country with his crew in order to study the drought conditions, because Tucson, Arizona hadn't had rain in years. It was terrible drought conditions. And in his travels across the country, he saw a smoggy haze just everywhere. And we're talking in the middle of nowhere. This isn't just in cities. He'd see this smoggy haze. He was seeing what is the visual manifestation of electromagnetic pollution, what we call electrosmog now. And so
think about that. Apparently, there are forces intentionally bringing about some kind of detrimental energy into the sky. And now we see them dumping all these heavy metals, sky spraying, and introducing electromagnetic energies. It does seem like an attack on humanity.
it looks like air pollution, but it's actually the visual manifestation of deadly energy. Nowadays, that energy comes from HARP and from cell towers and those things. But in his travels, he hadn't yet discovered where it was coming from, because this is long before.
This is pre-cell phones.
Yeah, this is the 50s, early 50s.
Pre-Wi-Fi.
Exactly. He arrived in Arizona and he saw increased drought conditions and advanced desertification as he went across the country. And he discovered so much by setting up his cloudbuster and beginning the operations. What this device did was it drew the dangerous energy out of the atmosphere and infused the life energy into the atmosphere. So he would draw out the deadly energy, and as he did so, he saw this smoggy haze disappear, and the horizons become clear, the mountains in the distance look blue or purple, and the atmosphere cleaned. And soon after, clouds began to form, natural cumulus clouds began to form, and even before the rain started, green grass started to grow around him. And he was seeing that the desertification was caused by deadly energy. So this is not actually a natural condition on Earth. In the course of his work, he was staring at the sky all the time.
Isn't that interesting? Even back then, there were these deadly energies after World War II. And here comes Mr. Wilhelm Wright with his Orgon machine, is able to aim it at the sky and clear up the sky, and then the clouds would show up, plants would grow, and of course this probably interfered with the people pursuing global world order's plans. Anyways, they had Wilhelm Wright arrested, and he died in prison, and all he was doing was helping people. Just too crazy to believe.
Started to see stars at night that would flicker and fade and retreat in the face of his cloudbuster. And he reported these stars to the Air Force because he thought they should know this. These look like crafts. They're moving, they're fading.
This is pre-satellites too. It wouldn't have been a satellite at that time, right?
Yeah, this is the early to mid 50s. Early to mid 50s. Yeah, by the time he was doing the cloud busting. So the discovery was made in the 30s.
Yeah.
And in the 50s, he started doing these experiments to use the energy to do drought abatement, to bring back rain in drought areas. So he was seeing that the device drew deadly energy out of the atmosphere, cleaned the air, and brought clouds. But in the process, he also saw at night that these stars that he thought were stars would retreat and fade. And he did this again and again and realized that the device was having an effect on these craft, and they were craft, in fact, and not stars.
Right.
I don't think they were actual stars, this whole UFO and alien thing. I think they were these interdimensional entities that probably have existed forever, satanic forces, if you will. Anyways, when he aimed his Orgon machine at the sky, these craft would retreat and go away. And he reported it to the Air Force. So it appears that the people in the governments are fully aware of all of these activities. Think about that. The powers that run our world are aware of whatever these entities are. And I think they're entities that have been here all along, related to the satanic symbolism we see everywhere, and obvious attack on Christianity and family values, bringing us George Bush Sr.'s so-called chaos and anarchy to bring about the New World Order.
He reported this to the Air Force, and they gave him a questionnaire. They already knew all about this. The questionnaire can be, you can read this in his book, Contact with Space, his last book. The questionnaire detailed what did the craft do. It had like a list. Did it flicker? Did it move this way? And he was able to answer their questions, but the fact that they already had the questionnaire printed up and ready to go shows that they kind of knew something was going on up there.
Yeah. Well, there certainly have been plenty of reportings of unidentified flying objects, and that's just an old, how do you say, that's part and parcel when it comes to any kind of Air Force activity. Pilots, anyone who deals with the skies has seen plenty of these. So did he ever have any particular interaction, though, with any alien species? It was all etheric. It was all on the psychic level. So he found that the heavy, bad energy, he called it deadly orgone radiation. So there's orgone energy, which is the life-giving energy of the universe. It's just to describe it briefly, it's a spiraling waveform, and it moves faster than the speed of light, and it's capable of restructuring and transmuting EMF, electromagnetic fields. So this energy can make the radiation from cell phones and wireless devices and cell towers far less harmful. Right. Which is why, ultimately, it combats the geoengineering, because it disables the energies they use, and it also throws the pollutants from the atmosphere.
Facts. The planet is imploding. The climate is collapsing. We must collectively rise above the orchestrated political divides and understand that we will sink or swim together. And we are all on a sinking ship. There's no question about that. And it's sinking at an exponential pace, and that pace is accelerating by the day. From the UK Express, this new headline: UK weather forecast, Britain to bake as Easter weekend kickstarts massive heat wave. These headlines are all over the globe. Again, climate engineering can and is creating short-term, highly toxic cool-downs that are then generally followed by a weather whiplash, massive heat-up. And these scenarios are going to worsen as the power structure becomes more desperate, and thus the climate engineers carrying out more desperate operations. From truthout.org and other sources, this quote: "We are destroying our life support system." Such headlines are now common, daily, though they are buried on the back pages of the mainstream media, weapons of mass distraction, newspapers, and other publications. Now let's consider this part of the equation. Where does this fit into the bigger picture? From multiple sources, this new report: global warming to bring back deadly prehistoric diseases as Arctic ice melts in Russia. Covered some of this scenario in the past, but consider that the job of official agencies, of mainstream media, is to somehow blame nature for everything that happens, and to ignore the climate engineering operations, the toxic elements they're spraying into our skies, the biological experimentation that history proves has been business as usual and continues to be. Are we to think that all these deadly new diseases have nothing to do with the 400 plus biolabs the U.S. military runs and operates, who are creating and experimenting with lethal pathogens, when we have former government scientists like Ken Caldera from Stanford University stating on the record, you can find this audio at geoengineeringwatch.org, Ken Caldera stating on the record that his job for the government was to create pathogens that could be sprayed into clouds to infect the population below, and we're expected to believe mainstream media's lies that all these new deadly diseases are just simply nature?
Isn't this unbelievable? But a lot of people don't want to believe it. And psychologically, I suppose we can understand it. People want to be in denial. But remember, prior to September 11th, 2001, people never suspected something like that could happen in America. But they've been planning 9/11 for a long time. Apparently, it was nefarious entities who were in charge of security of the Twin Towers. Nefarious entities, you can go look up who, you probably already know, who were in charge of security at the airports. And also some nefarious characters arrested in white vans with bombing materials, apparently, and quickly released. And then they went back to their country and were on TV bragging about what they were doing. And some of these entities were on a building in New Jersey celebrating and videoing the 9/11 event. Again, you got the Shahedrin, the religious authority in Israel, pushing the U.S. government and the president to do a couple things, to pass some laws to make any kind of anti-Israel, Jewish, Zionist speech, hate speech, anti-Semitism. And also, you can go look this stuff up, don't believe me, but to enforce some kind of Noahide laws, apparently ancient Jewish religious laws, which would probably be in alignment with the Kabbalah and the Talmud, which are some seriously questionable satanic books, along with other books, Zohar, and then you have alchemy, and then you have the secret societies, Freemasonic organizations, and low-level Freemasons don't know what's going on. Come on. Rosicrucians, Knights of Malta, the royal family, the Illuminati, the Club of Rome, the Bohemian Grove in California, where they have a giant owl, Moloch. They throw a baby into the fire, a cremation of care. And then they put the statue of Baphomet, the devil, in front of an Oklahoma state building because they have the 10 Commandments on display. So Oklahoma finally says get rid of it because of public outcry, so they ship it to Detroit. They have a big ceremony in the streets, and the people dress up like witchcraft people, like freaks. It's quite bizarre. Go look up the pictures. And so much more satanic symbolisms during the Emmys and Grammys and Super Bowl halftime shows. Even demons with horns. Katy Perry, Madonna, even the tunnel opening in Switzerland. They have a demon dropping from the sky. So in this video, you've seen some of the connecting of the dots. It's almost too much to believe. The real with the surreal. The reality with the Twilight Zone. But apparently it all is real. And I believe we the people we must wake up. Rick Miracle reporting.
Connect the dots. We have to connect the dots. It's up to all of us to look at the facts and to form a picture that's accurate, based on facts, not on ideology, not on preconception, not on bias, and certainly not on denial. Let's keep connecting dots. From the Sydney Morning Herald newspaper, this new report on an ongoing and rapidly worsening scenario. Quote, invisible killer, air pollution levels spike in Sydney's west. The region on Sydney's southwest edge has exceeded the PM 2.5 standard for at least the past 4 years. Deadly air pollution, and we are not being told where all that air pollution comes from, and we are not even measuring, no official sources even measuring for the extraordinarily dangerous particles far smaller than the PM 2.5 mentioned in this headline, nanoparticulates, not even measuring for them, not measuring for the type of elements like aluminum and barium. They go completely undetected, they go completely undisclosed, and the public is being exposed to this lethal air pollution that is climate engineering fallout, not being told. Moving on to more headlines on the same theme. Again, connect the dots. From the UK Daily Record and other sources, this new headline that should cause a sense of alarm in any that are awake and aware. Here's the headline, quote, deadly pollen bomb, end quote, of toxic pollution set to hit Scotland this week. Here's who is most at risk. The report states millions of asthma and hay fever sufferers are being urged to take precautions and avoid potentially fatal attacks.
Think about this, the tools and the power they have with the black laboratories inventing all of these biological weapons and dumping stuff in the sky. Electromagnetic microwave transmitters, wireless systems, computer systems, facial recognition systems. It seems to me it should be obvious to everybody. Whoever these nefarious characters are, satanic forces, secret societies, or just crooks, criminals that are controlling our planet and now have a country of their own after they brought us World War I and World War II and 9/11 and things like killing President Kennedy and president of Central American countries and presidents of countries over there in the Middle East after 9/11. It's just insane, and we've all been witnessing it. So anyways, thank you for watching this video. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Go watch these videos I showed you the clips from. And tell your friends. Send these videos. Whether you like my video or not, I don't care. But send these videos to other people and start getting a little bit more concerned about it and show other people you're concerned. I know they think we're crazy for being awake, but it all seems real. All too real. Rick Miracle reporting.